And we're back in the studio, and we're talking about the Oculus Rift. Now, many of you know the Oculus Rift. We've talked about that on Tech Pulse many times. It's this virtual reality headset that shows 3D. And it's been adapted for 1080p high definition video, but it shows immersive 3D. In other words, it's a virtual reality headset that puts you in the game. Remember, we talked about two types of virtual reality. You have, well, not virtual reality, two types of reality when it comes to playing games. You have augmented reality, which is what the IllumiRoom by Microsoft is, where they augment actual real objects in space and put those objects into the game. And then you have virtual reality that puts you inside a computer-generated world. That's what the Oculus Rift is. Oculus Rift is a virtual reality headset, and this thing, the redesign of it, looks pretty slick. And they have just now acquired, the Oculus Rift people, the Oculus Rift, the newest entry into the ambitious field of virtual reality video game gadgets, just took a big step forward in physical reality, and that is towards becoming an actual consumer product. Because the Oculus Rift virtual reality, the company behind the Rift, Oculus VR, that's the name of the company, they're behind the Rift. They announced earlier this week that it gathered another $16 million in funding to help it prepare for consumer launch. Now, according to people at Oculus, they said Oculus began with a single mission: to put players inside the game. And Palmer Luckey, the original inventor of the Oculus Rift and the subsequent co-founder of Oculus VR, said in a statement to the press, "This investment allows us to deliver immersive and affordable virtual reality to players everywhere." Now, while the Oculus Rift has wowed gamers ever since it netted almost $2.5 million to its Kickstarter program, and that was last August, the much-hyped VR gaming headset has still remained closed off to a small, to just a small handful of developers and researchers and stuff like that, only making a brief semi-public appearance for demonstrations at tech and gaming conventions like the GDC earlier this year and E3 and stuff like that. And Oculus team still didn't give a timetable for the headset release to gamers in the world. But Brandon Ive, Oculus VR CEO, said that the new round of funding will help support the company's next phase of growth out of a mere research project into full-scale commercial project development. So that's what the $16 million is going to be used for. They say there are still many challenges to solve, but the CEO said in a statement to the press, he said, "But with the support of these great investment partners and our passionate community, we will continue to hire the brightest minds and stay laser focused on developing the very best virtual reality platform possible." Now, just to give you a little bit, and I'm going to show you a picture here while we're talking about this, of the new design of the Oculus Rift. Before, you saw like a little box design that we showed you earlier. This is the new design of the Oculus Rift, and this thing looks slick, man. When I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, this thing looks ready for consumer immediately, but they're saying no, it's still under developer prototype label. This is the new Oculus Rift right here. I mean, look at that. Let me just zoom in on that bad boy right there. Woo! Imagine this slick thing. You have that, and this is just the VR now. What it does is that as you're looking, it has accelerometers and gyroscope sensors in it, as well as very high density video display panels, two of them. And as you look left, you look right, the game scrolls and it draws, not draws, but the graphics are immediately rendered immediately right there. So rather than you looking at a screen inside, because I have a VR, a virtual reality headset at the house, and what it does is that, I can hook up my VCR to it, and you put it on, and it's like looking at a screen. You look at a screen inside, you're watching the movie inside the thing, like a 50, 60-inch screen, but it looks like you're looking at a screen. I don't feel like I'm in there. It's kind of like being in a theater. Like when you're in a theater, you see that big screen in front of you? That's how it looks in the virtual reality headset that I have at the house. It just looks like you're in a movie theater. But this isn't a screen. This puts the picture all around. All you see is graphics. You don't see any line or anything like that. You see full graphics. So as you look up, it looks up just like you would in the world. You know what I'm saying? And the pixel density in the center is higher than the pixel density on the side, just like your peripheral vision. So you can see more detail as you're looking at something than you can just off to the side because your eyes are not focused on it. But as you turn, the pixel density increases as you turn to sharpen the image. So you always have peripheral vision, but you have direct line of sight. And no matter where you turn, as far as your neck can turn, the graphics are right there. So you're in the game. There's no borders. There's no, when you look down, you don't see a green screen. You see grass, you see whatever your feet. Matter of fact, you see your feet. You're in the game. You look down, you see feet. You know what I'm saying? You see legs. That's how the Oculus Rift is designed. And a lot of game developers are getting on board. And I know you have a comment right there, but just to let the gamers know, there's Epic Games. For those of you that know Epic Games, the creator of Unreal Tournament back in the day, Cliffy B. For those of you that are into gaming, you know Cliff Brzezinski. That guy is top level designer. He's the one that came up with Unreal, the Unreal Tournament series and all of that. And his company is now involved in Oculus Rift. You know what I'm saying? And he's huge in the gaming world, and his company has taken notice of the Oculus Rift. They're getting key people. I mean, they're even talking about, even though the Oculus Rift is going to be designed for gaming, they're talking about using this thing for virtual surgery. You know what I'm saying? So that doctors go ahead.
But my question was, I didn't want to go away from your description of it, in that where is the visual? Is it on a screen, or is it in a glasses, and that this thing projects in the glasses?
Right, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So it's two LED high-density panels, just like your computer panel, but very small, two of them, but the distance to your eyes makes your eyes or your brain think that you're not looking at a screen. It makes it look like it's a full field. You're in it, right. But if you took it apart, it's two high-density small screens like your computer screen. Just put two of them right together like that for each eye.
With the 3D effect.
With the 3D effect, because, you know, that's what, so you can send two different pictures, one here and one here. But the closeness of it, it's just like with binoculars. When you look through binoculars, you don't see two circles. The closeness of it, your brain puts it into one. And that's what this does. Your brain, it fools your brain into thinking you're looking at one big image, and you see no borders, you see no TV, you see nothing like that. All you see is just like you're looking out here in the real world. And what makes Oculus Rift so important is that central pixel density adaptation, to where looking forward is the highest level of pixel density. Just like if I'm looking at the camera right now, I can see mics off to the side. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Switch back so they can see.
Oh. I'm saying I'm looking at the camera and Devin is like, yeah, but nobody knows that. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry about that. You know, I was just into talking about this Oculus Rift. Now, if I'm looking at this camera right here, obviously that's my sharpest field of vision because my eyes are locked in this direction. I can see things on the side of me, but not terribly clear because my eyes are not focused on it, because the pixel density is less until my eyes focus on it, then I can see everything here, and then the camera now becomes a lower pixel density. That is how they designed the Oculus Rift, to where wherever you're looking at is sharp, and as you turn, the pixel density changes with you. This thing is just off the chain, and people are getting on board with it. And imagine they're using this for medical students, pre-med, you know, rather than having to deal with real patients. Because I'm sure, I don't know if any of you have been through that. A lot of doctors with the interns, when you're in the hospital, they'll use you as the test subject. They'll come around and they'll say, okay, this patient has this. What do you think? And you see a bunch of university students, you're like, well, I don't want to be diagnosed now. But your doctor is their professor, so they're coming in. But they can now, and I'm sure they're still going to do that, but they can now do virtual surgery where they're in. The operating person is here, and they're using different tools. I mean, this is just, I mean, imagine being able to get inside a nuclear reactor. You know what I'm saying? To discover if this thing, where the fault lies and stuff like that. Getting into areas that you couldn't get into because of the radiation. This thing is just on top. I mean, Devin, what do you think about this technology right now? I mean, first we have 3D printing that, you know, I mean, it's still a concept that's hard to wrap around if you don't understand the technology. But now with Oculus Rift, that, you know, because virtual reality headsets have been gimmicks in the past, haven't really been anything worth taking seriously. But this is the first that I've seen that really you can take this seriously. I mean, what do you think about this?
I'm excited about it. This is the first time I'm excited about gaming. Outside of just
soccer.
typical. But can you imagine playing soccer with the virtual, with the Oculus Rift? That's amazing to me, because now you don't have to just use your fingers.
Right.
You probably can use your whole
Feet,
body.
right. And then you see the player
down
over there, and you kick the ball.
It's amazing.
Crazy,
it's amazing.
Oh,
and what's really even amazing about it is not only being active in playing a game against someone else,
right, but
it's testing. I can see this as a huge advantage for coaches.
Right.
At the highest level. You know, I'm dying to teach my daughter soccer, you know, using something that's armchair. So I don't have to go out in the real hot sun and get involved.
And plus, she can get kind of the fundamentals before you take her out.
Exactly, which is much easier to apply using something like this.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm excited.
And they're going to bring it to a consumer level. That's their goal. Consumer level meaning, you know, the average person. So we're expecting $300 to $400 this thing is going to launch at, and they're saying that's $16 million. And I think that that's just the start of their funding.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because if you have major game companies like Epic looking at this thing as far as, wow, this can really change gaming, and you have doctors looking at this thing saying that, man, this is good for surgery and things. I mean, they're not going to have any trouble funding. It's just a matter of how much, and I think now they really have to put the work in to really hone it and fine-tune it and really make it what they envisioned it to be.
When is this released, probably?
They have no release date as far as...
Because you recognize that this is really the Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
This is really the Matrix. They just don't have to push that thing in the back of the neck. They just put the glasses on.
They just put the glasses on. It's true. And in the virtual world, you have a character that you can see, feet, hands, and you can be as strong as you want. You can be, I mean...
Just load the software.
Just load the software, and all of a sudden, you're a kung fu master.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this thing is just crazy. So we're gonna wait, and I'm gonna keep following this story, and obviously keep bringing it to you so that you are kept up to date with what's going on in the world of virtual reality. Now, coming up after the break, we're talking Google Chromebook. How many of you know about Chromebook to begin with? And Google is now releasing this thing in over 6,000 stores, not just Best Buys anymore. They're going to Walmart, they're going to all the various retailers. Does this a sign that Chromebook is picking up? Or is Google just desperate to sell some? We're going to talk about that coming up after the break, right here on Tech Pulse. You get the various